The Genesis Inquiry by Olly Jarvis. Read by Adrian Hobart. Chapter 1. Northumberland, northeast coast of England. Ella knew how the wind played tricks, but she was sure she could hear a car approaching. She pulled back the curtain on the van's side window and peered out into the darkness. She couldn't see anything in the field. No one else was fool enough to camp in March, a couple of miles from the swirling winter gales of the northeast coast. Tyres crunching on gravel. The sound grew louder, and she watched as twin beams illuminated the dry stone wall that snaked down the path onto the site. The car stopped briefly at the end of the lane, then crossed the field, pulling up alongside her van. The headlights were switched off. A man got out. Ella could tell he was in a suit, but couldn't make out his features in the darkness. She watched him take his coat off the headrest and thrust his arms through the sleeves, battling with the buttons as the back and sides flapped and whooshed around him in the wind. He squelched through the sodden ground towards the van, doing a kind of jig as if in a hopeless attempt to keep his shoes dry. Ella moved away from the windows, anxiety engulfing her. There was a tap on the door. She didn't move. "Miss Blake?" The voice was Cockney. It sounded familiar. "Miss Blake? It's me." "Jim?" The tension left her body. Why hadn't she recognized her clerk? But then in all the years she'd known him, she'd never seen him hop over a waterlogged field in the dark. "Yes, ma'am. Jim Hodges." She slid open the door. "Jim, what the hell are you doing here?" Jim opened his mouth as if to explain, then shut it again. "Can I come in, ma'am? It's blowing a gale out here." "Yes, of course. Sorry, climb in." Jim stepped up into the van, falling sideways onto a leather seat. Ella pulled the sliding side door back into place, then sat down on the other side of the pull-out table. "Have you just driven up from London?" "Yeah, it took hours, bloody A1," he said, inspecting the muck on his shoes. "It was one lane half the time." The wind yawed around the van, pummeling the windows. Ella opened a cupboard and pulled out a tumbler to accompany the one already on the table next to a half-empty bottle of Courvoisier. She could feel Jim looking at the mud on her fleece. "Just a small one. Got to drive back in a bit." Ella had already guessed why he had come, but she wasn't going to...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?